It all traced back to the Great Shame, a long-forgotten incident that had scarred the Denzans forever. Well, not so forgotten anymore. You knelt down next to Vansivall and took his hands. You weren't sure why you were wasting time on this, but some part of you, the weaker part, some part of you wouldn't let you leave him like this. You felt around the metal gloves until you found the hidden clasp at the inside of the wrist. Then you recited the incantation that your Denzan mother taught you when your grandfather died. I release you from this shame, brother, so you may float upon the ocean, you whispered in Denzan. Let it hold you down no longer. Flicking the clasp triggered a chemical reaction in the metal bonds. With a hiss, the gloves dissolved into Vansivall's hands, darkening his grayish skin with a scar that will never have a chance to heal. You stood up and wiped your hands on the front of your uniform. There was one other body on the floor of the temple. Syd's dad, Marcius. Or was it Ulvin? He meant to protect this place, no matter the cost, and now his head was gone, punched into fragments by Captain Reno. The Denzan part of him had died long before that, eaten away by the panel axe. With the sentient fungus forcibly detached from the brain, what remained of the body was rapidly disintegrating. The fungal growths dried up and sloughed off, leaving behind a pale architecture of bone. In the still air of the temple, the decomposing panel axe sounded like whispers. The sudden urge to run overwhelmed you, so you bolted through the temple's exit on jelly legs, escaping into the twilight stillness of Ashfall. You skidded to a stop in the plaza outside and tried to orient yourself, coughing into your shoulder at the stale, bitter air. When you first landed here, you'd had a breathing apparatus, but that had fallen off during all the chaos. You wondered what kind of chemicals were currently settling in your lungs and how long your half-Denzan immune system could keep you alive. If you were truly stranded on this world, at least you'd probably die of starvation before suffocation. With the sky shrouded in clouds of particulate, you couldn't tell if that was a sun or a moon above you. Either way, it didn't give off much light. Everything looked drained of color. It had been something like 1,000,000 years since this planet was destroyed, and still nothing grew here. Nothing survived at all, except the temple behind you. The Denzans killed this world, but they couldn't kill its secret. There were still footprints in the layer of ash from where your crew passed hours before, scattered and frantic near the temple, but more orderly the closer you get to where the Eastwood landed. A good metaphor for the whole visit to this planet, you think? Before everything went to shit, you trusted your crewmates. You didn't always open up to them, but you relied on them. You worked together and learned together. They were supposed to be your friends. And they left you behind. Passing through an intersection, you noticed a dark crimson starburst that's already nearly covered with dust. That's where Hiram got shot. A sniper's bullet ripping clear through his leg. He didn't think he could be hurt. Neither did you. Hiram wouldn't have left you here. Not him. The two of you grew up together, your parents never around, both of you basically living on Rafe's terrible pizza. Hiram thought of you like a little sister, and you thought of him... Well, better not to think about that. Anyway, he wouldn't just leave you. He'd find a way to come back for you. Even though you already sensed it was gone, your heart still sank when you reached the clearing where the Eastwood was supposed to be parked. Huge scorch marks in the shape of teardrops were burned into the ground from where the ISV's rockets had fired. Normally the ship lifted off with gentler anti-gravity thrusters and didn't blast the afterburners until reaching atmosphere. That they triggered the rockets on the ground meant they left in a hurry. To your relief, there was still another ship in the landing zone. The vessel that Vansivall and his hired team of Vulpin mercenaries flew in on was much smaller and more streamlined than the Eastwood, a spacefaring switchblade compared to your old floating schoolhouse. Dusted with ash, the ship's mottled orange and red camouflage looked like a sunset in a cemetery.